Welcome back, everyone. We are diving deep today into what I think is one of the most creative and, yeah, ambitious Korean BL series from 2024, Love for Love's Sake.
Adapted from the web novel Love Supremacy Zone, right?
Exactly. And our mission today is really to unpack how this drama uses, like, video game rules and structure in a really clever way.
Yeah, to tell a story that's actually quite profound about self-worth, second chances.
Totally. So let's just lay out the core concept first, because it really sets things up. We've got Tae Myung-ha, he's 29, pretty deeply unhappy with his life.
Yeah, depressed.
Right. And suddenly, boom, he finds himself basically transported into a virtual high school game. He's back as his 19-year-old self.
But it's not just, a fun trip down memory lane. There are serious rules here.
Oh, yeah.
His main task, his mission, is to find this track and field star, Cha Yeo-woon.
Who was actually a side character in a novel his friend wrote. Kind of a meta layer there.
Right, a character destined for a tragic end. Myung-ha has to make him happy, and he only has 365 days.
And the consequence for failing.
It's literally game over, like fatal.
So the stakes couldn't be higher. And this is where, for me, the show just shines. It fully commits to the game idea.
It really does.
It's not just the setting. Yoon-ha interacts with actual game mechanics. We see side quests pop up, temporary buffs and debuffs affecting interactions.
And crucially, that affinity system, that visible, number score showing Yeowon's affection level.
Yeah. Only Yoon-ha can see it. It's like the ultimate gamification of building a relationship.
And it allows the show to, make emotional progress or the lack of it really concrete. You see the numbers change.
Which is fascinating because Myung-ha, back in his real life, he actually felt sorry for this Yeo-woon character in the novel. He saw him as this lonely figure.
Weighed down by injury, grief over his grandmother, bullying, just immense despair. Myung-ha wanted to change that fate.
And now he has to, but under this intense game pressure.
Exactly. Which brings us nicely into our first segment, the gamification of affection.
Right. So Myung-ha's sort of first major interaction, he saves Yeo-won from the school rooftop. Yeo-won was in a really bad place.
And that's when the affection level system kicks in.
Right.
And what's the first reading?
It's negative, like actual minus digits.
Starts in the red. He's actively disliked. So Myung-ha has this huge uphill battle just to get to 0, let alone positive.
And they even call that early phase the hedgehog warning zone.
Yeah, I loved that. It perfectly describes Yeowon's defensiveness. Myung-ha's basically tiptoeing around him, trying not to trigger those spikes.
And realizing that it takes, consistent positive actions, repeated effort, just to nudge that number up.
And those actions are framed as quests, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Save Yeo-won from bullies or help Yeo-won make a friend. These aren't just plot points. They're objectives with potential rewards.
And the rewards aren't always, tangible items. Sometimes completing a quest gives him a buff.
Like what?
Like maybe an increased success rate for his next conversation attempt, making Yeowon just a tiny bit more likely to listen.
Oh, interesting.
But mess up, have a bad interaction.
Hit the buff.
Exactly. Maybe it freezes his ability to initiate positive interactions for a few hours. It makes the progress feel really earned, but also super fragile. One wrong move can set him back.
And Young-ha himself, played by Lee Tae-vin, he's not your typical clueless teenager thrown into this.
No, he's got that adult perspective.
Right. He's 29 mentally, so he's scrappy, he thinks on his feet, and he approaches all this high school drama with a kind of adult weariness, but also strategy. He avoids a lot of the petty stuff.
Which is absolutely crucial for dealing with the sheer emotional weight of Yeowon's situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And that leads us perfectly into segment 2, Yeowon's emotional journey.
Okay.
Because Cha Yeo-woon, who plays Yeowon, he just embodies this profound despair at the start. He's quiet, withdrawn, carrying his injury, his grief. It's palpable.
It really is. But the show does something brilliant, I think, early on in episode 2 that explains why it's so hard for Myung-ha to get through.
Ah, yes. You're talking about self-affection score.
Exactly. It's not just that Yeowon dislikes Myung-ha initially.
No. The truly devastating reveal is when Myung-ha checks Yeowon's affection level for himself.
And it's minus 100.
Minus 100. Just crushing self-loathing. It reframes everything. Yeowon feels he deserves to be miserable.
So Myung-ha's mission isn't just about fixing external problems like bullies or injuries. It's about healing this deep internal wound.
Precisely. It's about teaching Yeowon self-worth.
Which explains some of the big setbacks, right? Like the running shoes incident.
Oh, yeah. that was painful. Myung-ha tries this act of kindness, getting him new shoes.
And Yeoman just throws it back in his face. He thinks it's pity.
Yeah, charity. And bam, the affection level tanks.
Mm.
It's like starting all over again.
But that resistance, that initial rejection, it kind of sets the stage for the beak-through, doesn't it?
It does. Once Myung-ha manages to convince him, truly convince him, that the support is genuine, not pity, that happens around episode 4.
And the change is just...
It's like night and day. We get Yeo-woon 2.0. Suddenly he's sweet, he's soft, he actually smiles.
He becomes almost endearingly awkward in his affection. Like, the giant sunflower he gives Myung-ha.
Oh my gosh, yes. So earnest and slightly ridiculous, but completely charming.
And that kiss. The one where he just grabs Myung-ha in the middle of a traffic intersection.
Bold. Hilariously bold. It showed how intense his feelings became once that wall finally crumbled. He goes from 0 to 60, emotionally.
It really cuts through all the earlier tension. And, you know, we should probably briefly mention there was some chatter before the show aired, right?
Yeah. Concerns in the fan community.
That maybe they'd tone down the romance, make it more of a bromance.
With the showrunners, and credit to them, they absolutely didn't. The romantic attraction, the physical affection, that first kiss, it's all very clearly central to their story. No ambiguity there.
Definitely not. The romance is key. But the show gets even deeper when you look at the side characters.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us to segment 3, the supporting characters as emotional mirrors.
Yeah, they're not just plot devices.
Not at all. They really reflect aspects of Myung-ha's own journey, his own past struggles. It's quite cleverly done.
So who stands out first?
For me, it's An Kyung-hoon, the really introverted, anxious classmate. Low self-esteem, struggles socially.
He's basically a mirror of Myung-ha before the game, right? That depressed, isolated version of him.
Exactly. And what's significant is how Myung-ha interacts with him.
How so?
Well, helping Kyung-hoon isn't part of the main quest. There's no affinity score for Kyung-hoon, no system reward tied to it.
Ah, so Myung-ha is helping him just because.
Precisely. He teaches him to talk to people, defends him from bullies. It's pure altruism. It's Myung-ha proving, maybe mostly to himself, that he is capable of genuine kindness and connection outside the game's rules.
That's a really important point. It shows his actions aren't purely transactional.
Right. It validates his own worthiness, in a way.
Okay, and then there's the antagonist, Cheon Sang-won. The bully, the rival.
Young-ha recognizes him almost immediately from the original novel his friend wrote. He knows Sang-won's backstory.
The tragic side character. Wealthy family, but neglected, lonely.
Yeah. And Young-ha, even though Sang-won is actively making his life difficult, he kind of sees a reflection there too. Another side character left behind.
Like, Young-ha felt in his own real life before the game, feeling irrelevant.
Exactly. And Sang-won's antagonism, ironically, forces Myung-ha and Yeo-woon closer together. They have to defend each other, rely on each other.
He inadvertently strengthens their bond.
Pretty much. And we can't forget Myung-ha's grandmother.
Oh, right. Even though she's technically outside the game simulation.
Her presence, or the thought of her, acts as this anchor for Myung-ha. She represents that unconditional love from his real life when she gets sick later on.
It really raises the stakes for him getting back, right? It reminds him what he still has to live for outside the game.
Yeah, it adds another layer of urgency.
Speaking of urgency and stakes, let's move into segment 4. Because while the character stuff is so strong, the plot does get a bit wild towards the end.
Yeah, the narrative buckle, as we're calling it. Episodes 6 through 8, particularly. The pacing definitely accelerates.
It felt a bit rushed, didn't it? Maybe trying to cram too much in.
I think so. It became a little chaotic. You have the core emotional journey, which is great, but then suddenly there's all this external conflict layered on top very quickly.
Like, the whole thing with the classmate who suddenly recognizes Myung-ha from his real 29-year-old life, that felt a bit random.
A bit tangential, yeah. Kind of a brief stalker subplot that pops up and disappears, and then the game system itself starts throwing curveballs.
Right. The system errors start happening more frequently.
Yeah, strict deadlines appearing out of nowhere, and that mysterious pen to change destiny.
Which felt a bit like a convenient plot device, maybe?
It did feel a little heavy-handed. Those mechanics that were so clever and integrated early on suddenly felt like they were just driving the plot forward arbitrarily.
And did it kind of lessen the emotional impact for you because the focus shifted?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just focusing on the incredibly hard-won emotional progress between Young-ha and Yeo-woon, we're suddenly dealing with like system meltdowns and external threats popping up. It pulled focus.
But just when you think maybe it's losing its way a little, boom,
Yeah.
episode 8 delivers that massive plot twist.
Oh, absolutely. The gut punch.
The revelation about Yoon-ha's original life.
Yeah. Finding out that he didn't just get transported randomly, he had actually taken his own life.
And this whole game simulation, it wasn't just a game.
No, it was framed as a second chance, a sort of therapeutic purgatory, maybe, designed by that mysterious senior or writer figure.
And the mission. It was never just about making Yeo-woon happy. That wasn't the ultimate goal.
Exactly. That's the key shift. The real goal, the hidden objective, was for Myung-ha to find a reason to live again.
By pouring all his energy into saving someone else who was also lost.
He was inadvertently learning how to save himself, learning to value himself, realizing he deserved happiness and connection. It recontextualizes everything he went through.
Wow, yeah, that twist really lands.
It does. And it sets up that very poignant ending, which is our final segment, the reconciliation.
Okay, so the ending is, it's complicated, emotionally. Yoon-ha's 365 days run out.
Time's up.
And he's just deleted, erased from the game world, from Yoon-woon's memory, like he never existed.
It's brutal, but not entirely erased. There's residue.
Right. Yoon starts getting these flashes, these feelings, hearing Yoon-ha's voice. He knows something is missing.
And eventually he finds the pen Yoon-ha used to essentially write their story, influence fate within the game.
And what Yoon does next, it shows how much he's healed, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
He doesn't just mourn, he takes action. He uses the pen, makes a wish.
To see Myung-ha again.
Yeah. And he essentially reverses the journey. He activates the pen and enters the simulation, or maybe crosses dimensions.
Legit.
It's a bit ambiguous.
But he has a new mission.
A beautifully symmetrical mission. Make Myung-ha happy. The one who was saved now becomes the savior.
Which leads to that final scene, just incredibly satisfying.
Oh, the reunion on the beach?
Yeah, they're running towards each other. Yoon-ha is back in his 29-year-old body, in the present or future.
And Yeo-woon has traveled there to find him.
And they just crash together, that embrace, the kiss. It's earned. And the running.
Yes, the running motif throughout the whole series, connected to Yeo-woon being an athlete.
And that earlier line he had about wanting someone he loves waiting for him at the finish line.
And now Myung-ha is his finish line. It ties it all together so powerfully.
It really does.
So, yeah. Final thoughts. Love for love's sake. It's just incredibly ambitious. It took these potentially tropey fantasy mechanics, game levels, quests, time loops.
Things that could have felt gimmicky.
Exactly. And it used them to explore really deep human stuff. Self-worth, trauma, healing, what it means to connect, to give and receive love. It used the genre to actually elevate the emotional story.
It really makes you think about, how we measure our own lives, our own happiness.
Definitely.
So maybe a final question for you listening. If you could see just one quantitative statistic about your own life, like an affection score from others, or maybe even that self-loathing score, which number would you choose to see? And what do you think it might reveal about where you are right now?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Something to chew on.
Definitely something to mull over. Well, if you enjoyed this deep dive, please do hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and definitely let us know your thoughts on Love for Love's Sake in the comments. What moment really stood out to you?
We'd love to hear it.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into ambitious storytelling.